swing and a drive. Right field and deep. Back goes Aquino. It's got a chance. Gone. Get out the tape measure. Long gone.
Fly the W!
Cubs fans, it's time to fly the W with Dustin Rhodes and Paul Crawley-Jean.
All right, Crawley, this is the Fly the W podcast, proud to be part of the Blue Wire Network. And this one, it's episode number 342. We finally get the debut of Edward Cabrera to our Cubs over the weekend. Don't forget to listen. Don't forget to download. Don't forget to review the podcast. You can follow me at Mully & Haw on X.
And you can follow me at Crawley's Cubs on X, Blue Sky and TikTok, and Crawley's Clubhouse on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Threads. You can email us at crawleysclubhouse@gmail.com. Dustin, as we're recording this, there is a game going on, and it's not looking too good for the Cubs. This looks like a football score right here, 17-6. J-Mo with another rough outing. We're going to talk some WBC later on, but
well, I'm told not to worry about that, Crawley. I'm told not to worry about it. I'm told not to get excited about it. You know, I mean,
look,
okay.
I'm just telling you, J-Mo, year after year, he's going to hit the back of his baseball card. He's going to be roughly a 500 pitcher, and he's going to be a guy that's going to have about a 340 to 360 ERA. I wouldn't panic at all about it right now. I know it just doesn't look good. Just like when we talk about Shota, there's going to be things.
Here's this now. See, this is what's interesting. Okay, how do we draw the difference between what is going on with Shota in the preseason and what is going on with Jameson Taillon in the preseason? Why is one okay and shrug your shoulders, and why is the other one put your head in your hands? What's the difference?
You take a look at a couple different things. First off, when you talk about that comparison between Shota and you're talking about Jameson, the thing that you like to see, even though the outing wasn't that great, just in the box score on Sunday, for Shota, you want to see velocity, right? And so that's something you're sitting there, okay, that looks good. Okay. And so that was a big concern. His velocity dropped last year about, 3 to 4 miles an hour. He's averaging about 90 miles per hour on the fastball, especially towards the end. It was getting even worse. And, with Jameson, again, he's working on different things, but he's not a guy that I sit there. Have you ever sat there and gone, like, looked at him in spring training and been like, oh man, J-Mo's going to win 20 this year? No, you don't do that in general.
No, you don't do that either. Right. That's a good point. That's fair. That somewhere in the middle, right? He's somewhere in the middle of good and not good.
Here's the thing though, Dustin, here's the thing. J-Mo is going to be your fifth starter. When you really look at this, how much concern?
Well, eventually, right? You got 4 without Justin Steele. You still got 4 ahead of J-Mo.
Yeah. So maybe 3 ahead of J-Mo.
It's right on the edge, right? It's right on the edge. It's right on the edge.
Right. He is not the guy that if all of a sudden things go wrong, it's because J-Mo didn't have a good season.
Right.
Like
I mean, my issue with some of these starting pitchers is this home run ball, the propensity for the home run ball. That's what's bothering me. And walks. I mean, J-Mo gave up 2 home runs and 2 walks so far today.
Yep. And again,
I mean, his day is done.
His day is done. He's working on things.
Go work on things with Team Canada, okay?
He is about to do that, but I wouldn't. I'm just saying I wouldn't worry.
All right.
What you want to look at
off the ledge. Talk me off the ledge.
You for me, and we're going to talk about a couple of these things. I look mostly at the young players. What are they doing? Right? Are there some prospects that are turning some heads? Are there guys that are throwing the ball well out of the bullpen, again, using the Brad Keller comp again, that could potentially make it with this team? There are guys that I don't worry about when it comes to, okay, I'm not going to worry about Dansby Swanson and what his batting average is, or I'm not going to worry about how many wins J-Mo has in spring training. They're working on things. I'm not too concerned about it. I don't think anyone should be too concerned about it. It's spring training. Everyone's just getting their pitches in. Everyone's getting their swings in. Nothing to panic. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. But as we talk about the first game from Friday of this weekend, Cubs versus the Guardians, this is a fun one because we've never seen Edward Cabrera in a Cubs uniform. That was the big debut, right? And so that to me is like, you go, oh, okay, now I get to watch this guy pitch, really kind of zone in on him. And the Cubs beat the Guardians 8-6, Dustin. And the other fun thing is when you kind of sometimes every now and then Craig's going to give you the spring training lineup, right? That looks like an everyday lineup. So this is the lineup he dropped on Friday. And so you had Nico Horner, Alex Bregman, Ian Happ, Dansby Swanson, Michael Busch, Matt Shaw, PCA, Miguel Amaya, and Dylan Carlson. That could easily be what you would look like, in a regular season game. That could be your potential lineup. You don't have some kid off the backfields, some guy that's going to be starting in AA. Like this is going to be what your team's going to look like, and Craig's going to mess around with things. Horner is Horner going to lead off? Bregman second? I mean, these different types of things that you take a look at are just kind of fun. But let us, the thing, Dustin, we've talked about how frustrating this is. No TV or radio broadcast, not from either side, for Edward Cabrera's spring debut. I mean, come on. I got some guys. We could get somebody out in Mesa and call that game. I don't know what was going on.
Did they do that on purpose? Did they let's start him because there's no TV and there's no radio? It just seems odd, right? I mean, not that TV is going to bend over backwards or radio is going to bend over backwards for a Cabrera start in spring training, but I just can't believe that I'm more upset with Marquee, and it's not just because I work for the Score, but I mean, the Marquee Sports Network is supposed to be the Cubs flagship. Just you about NHFS, National High School Foundation of Sports or Federation of Sports?
No,
they have a camera. They have a camera, like a centralized camera for football and basketball and baseball games. Like not like the tiniest little high school, but all the bigger high schools. So like grandma and grandpa, aunt and uncle, brother and sister who might be away at college can at least watch the game. There might not be, sometimes there's commentators, sometimes there's not, but there's a camera, and the camera somehow knows how to follow the ball back and forth across the field of play. Okay. Why can't they at least do that? I mean, I think in years past, they at least had like on Cubs.com, they had like a center field camera going. Come on.
This was bad. And the trouble that you end up having there too is that the only way to get any idea of what's going on in the game is MLB Game Day, right? And so basically it's just a little graphic with a guy there.
You're watching a box score. I mean,
right.
It's a game cast or whatever.
And not only that, it froze in the middle of Cabrera's thing. So then we couldn't even see what's going there. Luckily, my buddy Steve Scher was at the game. Steve was on with us the other day, and he was able to, he had video of Dansby Swanson's home run. So at least there were some videos somewhere, but Cabrera sat down the first three batters he faced, 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout of Rhys Hoskins to end the inning. Second inning, Cabrera got a fly out and then two more strikeouts to end his day. 2 innings, 6 batters faced, 6 batters sat down, no hits, no walks, 3 Ks, Dustin, and he is throwing upper 90s. And so this is Cabrera right here. And when you look at this, when you're kind of looking here, you could see that his four-seamers hitting 96, 97. The ridiculous thing about it is his changeup. His changeup is like 92, 93. I mean, that's like Seiya's fastball. Is Edward Cabrera's changeup.
A couple of guys would like that for their fastball.
Right. That's 93 on the changeup, 86 slider, 83 curveball. I mean, the guy has just got stuff. It is. I don't know. I was just impressed. And then speaking of heat, Daniel Palencia pitches the 4th inning. He doesn't give up any hits, has 2 Ks. You want to talk about heat? How about this for Gasolina right here? Triple digits, 100, 100.6, 100.1. And then he's got a splitter at 89 and he's, slider at 88. To me, when you look at Daniel Palencia, it's not a question, can he close? He's closed at a lot of different levels in the Cubs minor league systems. He just can't get rattled when things kind of go rough. If he kind of, if you got a guy 0-2 and you let him off the hook and you walk him, something like that, don't worry about it. Turn the page, get to the next batter. But he has the stuff. He has a major league arm. He's just got to get confident. He's got to not worry about anything. Just, you got the stuff, kid. Let her rip. That's it. Keep it simple. On offense, big day for Alex Bregman and Dansby Swanson. Nico Horner walked to lead off the inning, but two batters later, he was still sitting there before Dansby Swanson hit his first spring training home run that Steve Sure recorded to put the Cubs up 2-0. The Cubs would add another run in the sixth after Alex Bregman doubled and scored on a Dansby RBI. Dansby was 2 for 3 with that 2-run blast and an RBI single. Alex Bregman was 2 for 3 with a single and a double and scored a run. And after the Cubs lost the lead in the seventh, Scott Kingery, that backup infielder, he hit a solo home run. The Cubs rallied for the win in the eighth with Leonel Espinal hitting an RBI single and Jefferson Rojas. Between Jefferson Rojas and Pedro Ramirez, Dustin, I'm going nuts with those guys. He hit a 2-run double to put the Cubs ahead for good. And again, it's why I like watching spring training games, is to see a guy like Jefferson Rojas or Pedro Ramirez, see what they can do, right? The negatives from this game, another rough outing for Porter Hodge. And so, Dustin, you're asking, okay, why do we get worried about this but not that? With Porter Hodge, he struggled last season after coming back from injury, and he doesn't have a long track record. And a lot of it seems to me between the ears right now. He doesn't seem to have confidence. And he had a 3-0 lead in the seventh, and he led off the outing with a walk, gave up a single, got a strikeout, gave up another single, another walk to load the bases. Got a second strikeout. He's got 2 outs, but then he gave up a double to clear the bases. He only goes 2/3 of an inning, gave up 5 runs on 3 hits, 2 walks, and 2 Ks. But Dustin, he's appeared in 3 games so far, gave up 7 runs on 4 hits, 7 walks, 5 Ks. His ERA is 31.50.
Yeah, I don't care what you're working on, Crowley. That can't be good. That wouldn't let the goal. If the goal was to have a +25 ERA, congratulations. All right, I guarantee that's not what they were working on.
But what I will tell you is, young kids, I don't know if you've watched, if you heard about Michael Arias. Michael Arias was a kid that I saw when I was down in Myrtle Beach. I raved about him years ago. And the Cubs let him go when they signed Colin Ray last year, which surprised me. And now he's turning heads in New York. He's looking all the things I thought he would. Here's the issue. Don't give up on these guys like Porter Hodge or Luke Little or anything. They're young kids, and it takes a little while for this to come together. It's not linear. That's been explained plenty of times. Does it look good through 3 games? No, but again, we're not going to Chicago tomorrow. Plenty of time, and like I said, do I know what Porter's going to do? Nope, no idea. He's the one that's going to have to go out there and not throw walks and be confident, get ahead of hitters, trust he's got the stuff. But at the same time, I'm not going to just write these guys off because they're in a little rut for a certain period of time. I'm going to wait and see what this guy can do, but I believe in him. And it's unfortunately it's a numbers game more than not, Dustin. Do you have the numbers to keep this guy around? Options. Those are things that we talk about. But the Cubs know this kid has something. He knows he has it. It's just got to be put together. That's the thing. But the story of the day was really Edward Cabrera. That was, that was really
all about his first start. Yep.
And here's what he had to say about that first start through his translator, Freddie Quinones.
What was your focus? What were you hoping to accomplish in your first spring start?
My focus was to stay in the zone. I was trying to get all my pitches in the zone. That was my focus for today.
It looked like, stop me if I'm wrong, but it looked like you were throwing the 4-seamer a lot today, which I know you backed off on last year. Is that a pitch that you want to be throwing more this year?
Yeah, that's one thing that I want to do. I want to keep. I want to throw it more, and then I can contribute to my other pitches as well. My other pitches as well.
What do you think is the key for your 4-seamer to be a more effective weapon for you?
To have control, just the same as any other of my pitches. If I want to throw it outside, throw it outside. If I want to throw it inside, I'll throw it inside. I think that's what every pitcher strives to have.
What do you like about the way that it plays with the changeup?
What can I tell you? It's just something that I can't really explain. When I throw my changeup, I just throw it. A lot of people, ask me something I can't explain. That I just throw it, and I think of it as a fastball, so I just throw it that way. But ask me about it, hard to explain.
So, Dustin, when we talk about this, last year Cabrera threw 5 different pitches. He threw a changeup, a curveball, a sinker, a slider, and a 4-seamer. But last year his 4-seamer was only thrown 13% of the time. Okay. And so that's what they were asking him about. And so he's talking about how he wants to throw the four-seamer more. And so I mean, it's an unbelievable weapon. He averages 97 miles per hour. But this is a guy that for me, this is why you want to watch the spring training games on TVs, is to see like your Edward Cabreras, to see your Alex Bregman. These are the guys that you want to kind of see that you haven't seen before, and fans are excited to see. So we'll see what happens, but I think a very positive outing, and I'm looking forward to see what he can do when he's actually at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. There is no doubt about that. Let's move over to game number 2 that we're going to cover. That was a Saturday contest against the world famous Los Angeles Dodgers, Crowley.
The Dyers, yep. And you had right here, you had Kevin Alcantara and Christian Bethancourt making their spring training debuts. Matt Shaw leading off, and James Chiantos in there, BJ Murray, Justin Dean. And so again, those fourth outfielders are getting a lot of reps in there. Remember, Kevin Alcantara had that injury that kind of really affected him at the end of the year, so they're going to ease him in. He went 0 for 4, but he felt comfortable, he said, at the plate. The Cubs scored 6 runs in this game, and it was the prospects doing most of the damage. They scored their first run in the 5th on a bases-loaded wild pitch. In the 7th, Pedro Ramirez RBI single. Top of the 8th, Brett Bateman hit an RBI single. And in the 9th, Kane Kepley, who's a guy that we had Greg Hughes on the other day. He was really talking up Kane Kepley a lot. He hit an RBI triple, so he's really a fast kid that's going to be fun to watch. But Dustin, just like with Edward Cabrera, the focus on this game on Saturday, pitching. How about this one? Colin Ray, Ben Brown, and Javier Assad. And each of these guys looked locked in. Ray looked his usual steady self, pitched 3 scoreless innings, gave up 1 hit, no walks, and 2 Ks. But then Ben Brown came into the game. And remember how nobody ever, Ben Brown, he stinks. The guy stinks. No, he doesn't. He just didn't pitch really well last year. He had his ups and his downs. This time he pitched 2 scoreless innings. He gave up a hit, and he had 3 Ks. But what I want to kind of point at here, Dustin, is when you're talking about Ben Brown, I mean, to me, the interesting thing was his pitch usage, okay? And so he's got this sinker that he's starting to use now more and more, and that is going to be a really big difference for him when it comes down to the season, because what is the thing that we always talked about? He only had 2 pitches. He had the fastball and he had the knuckle curve, and that was it. And so if you could time it up well enough, right? If you could time it up well enough, that's how he would start to get hit. And so when you're talking about the rotation, right? When you're talking about being in the rotation, it's really, really hard to do it with just 2 pitches. Can you be in the bullpen? Absolutely, you can be in the bullpen with 2 pitches. But if you're talking about seeing guys 3 times through the order, you're going to get hit. And so this sinker that he's developed has really, really looked good so far. It has been, to me, there's guys that are just going to be big stories for this season that none of us are kind of really counting on, right? That we don't know.
There always is on every good baseball team. Those always pop.
Right. And that's my hope right now is that Ben Brown, who's been on this podcast, he's got that sinker. And next time you got How to Be on, I don't know when it's going to be. I'd be curious to say what why they decided to go with it and what they're seeing from it. But right now, what I'm seeing is a guy that's not giving up runs, who looks like he's in more control. Remember, walks were a big issue with Ben Brown. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't look like guys can sit on what he has. And then Javier Assad. I mean, when you talk about Javier Assad, he pitched 3 innings, gave up 1 hit, no walks, and 4 Ks. Assad, valuable part of 2024, 7-6. 373 ERA, 29 games, 140 innings. In 2020, an oblique in he landed 60-day training, and his first Dustin for August 12th.
That's amazing, amazing.
His 4.365 ERA in 8 games. He 7 starts, pitched 37 innings. I was disappointed he wasn't on the roster against the Brewers. I thought that was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You only get one question.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You only get one question at CubsCon. And I think that there are so many things you'd love to sit there that I'd love to sit there and ask Jed Hoyer. And that would be one of them. But, obviously he didn't have a lot of he still wasn't maybe fully ready to go. I don't know. There's other guys I would have left off the roster, but when you see that, when you see 3 scoreless from Colin Ray, 2 scoreless from Ben Brown, 3 scoreless for Javier Assad, it just makes you wonder. Like I said, I'm not saying JMO's going to be bad all year, but there's a difference. Do you remember Kyle Hendricks last season with the Cubs in 2024?
Mm-hmm.
You automatically knew it was not going to be good, unfortunately. And again, Kyle Hendricks was awesome, but he just got those starts because there was really nobody else. Let's say Jameson Taillon really stinks it up. Let's say he doesn't fix whatever's been struggling early on. This is a guy right now that you look at it and you say to yourself, okay, there's Javier Assad. Here's Ben Brown. There are options that you have. You're not going to sit there and have to put Jameson out there every 5 days. Nope. And that's what was exciting about
it. And Jameson said on the latest edition of Inside the Clubhouse that he would be willing and would understand a 6-man rotation.
100%. I think that's the smartest way to go with the guys that have had injuries or just pitched like the most amount of innings they've pitched in their career or for a couple of years. We're talking about Matthew Boyd, talking about Cade Horton, all these guys. A 6-man rotation wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
All right, let's move into Sunday's game against the White Sox. This one kind of had me pumped up. It was going to be on the Marquee Sports Network. I fired up the DVR. I was out and about at the Bulls game, believe it or not, on Sunday afternoon. So I was following this one on my phone, and it wasn't a good follow. And going back to your point from earlier, Crowley, about the Friday lineup, the Sunday lineup that Council put out there look like an opening day lineup as well against a left-handed starting pitcher, right?
Yep. You had Nico, Bregman, Happ, Bush, Swanson, PCA, Kelly, Conforto, Ballesteros. A lot of those guys in there too, especially because, as we were going to talk in segment 2 and 3, having to do with the WBC.
Right. Guys are breaking camp. They're leaving. They're going to go play with their respective countries and things like that. And this was also the debut of Conforto, and it didn't exactly go wonderful.
No, and Shota was looking for another strong start after a first good outing. Unfortunately, the White Sox had other plans. Shota gave up a solo home run in the first, the second, and the third. Zane Mills came in to replace Imanaga in the third. He gave up a solo home run to Lenin Sosa. 4 solo home runs, 3 given up to Shota by Shota Imanaga. But after the game, he had plenty to say, and he knows what's going on. He talked a little bit about how that start went.
Yeah, so for me, results are important. And, I go out there, try to keep them scoreless. And obviously today that wasn't the case. And so for me, what I'm thinking about is, with the 4-day rest, trying to figure out a routine that I can continue and make myself physically feel better.
Do you consider the Arizona home runs compared to others because of the air is so thin here that 1 or 2 might have been just Arizona home runs and that they weren't bad pitches?
Yeah, not necessarily, because if that's the case, then if we're playing the Diamondbacks and there's home runs in that game, you can't say if that was a different city and those aren't home runs. So for me, it's always trying to figure out, okay, how do I limit home runs and what kinds of adjustments I need to make.
Your velocity looked up again. I know you kind of talked about last start that it's not something you're super focused on, but just what does it mean for you at this point in spring to see the fastball velocity where it's at?
Yeah, so I think for me, I focused on what the average velo is. And, you can throw 94 in the first, but what matters is, if you're in the 7th, 8th, you're in a tough situation, can you, bring the velo up and, execute a good pitch. So for me, that's what I try to think about. And if I'm in that situation, like, what matters for me is can I get that velo up in that situation to execute a good pitch?
I thought there's a couple different things that were good. Number one, he doesn't want to hear about the Arizona air, but because Bruce brought that up, but there were a couple home runs that probably wouldn't have been home runs had they, not been in Arizona. I mean, you could totally tell. Like, it was just like the ball just kept like floating away. And again, he's saying, okay, if it doesn't matter. You don't want the ball going that far deep, even if it wasn't, right? Like, that wouldn't have been a home run at Wrigley Field, but still, you don't want that, the pitch wasn't exactly where it should have been, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing you're kind of looking at right there, and that was his translator, by the way, as well, just because, I don't know how many of our fans speak Japanese, but one thing that he was kind of talking
You
about.
don't speak Japanese. You don't speak Japanese, Crowley.
I do not. But taking a look right here, this is what was going on here. You could take a look. His fastball was averaging 92 miles per hour, and that's compared to 90 miles per hour last year. He was hitting 93, 94 on the gun. So again, that velocity is still continuing to trend where you want it to be. So I think that really, again, that's what I'm looking at is velocity and stuff like that. If he's throwing more fastballs, then he's throwing more fastballs than normal. And that's his plan, right? And so I'm not too concerned. I thought it was an interest, again, not the start you wanted, but I'm not worried again about Shota as well. I guess the comfort I have, Dustin, is knowing the depth of pitching that this team has.
Well, I think it's more about that. I think it's more about the depth. I mean, he's sitting there through the translator talking about getting to the 7th and 8th inning. Let's get to the 5th. Okay. Let's get to the 5th before we get to the 7th and the 8th. How about no walks, no home runs? And again, his last start was pretty good. This one was pretty bad.
Yep.
It's like
no doubt
every other one. But where's the offense, Crowley? Where is the offense? Where's this top flight offense against that pitcher? Former Cub pitching.
There was a little bit of offense. Here we go.
Bregman so far this spring, 3 for 9. Banner 2025 season with the Red Sox. Bregman in the air, left center field. It's back to the track, and it is gone. Cubs fans, get used to this. Alex Bregman, solo homer. We're all tied up at 1 in the first.
I'll take a Bregman Bomsky on this Sunday. Why not?
Bregman Bomsky. Bregman Bomsky?
Yeah, Bomsky. That's Elise Menaker's home run call, the Bomsky.
That sounds like a T-shirt from Obvious.
Yeah. And all I can tell you is I love Alex Cohen. I think he's really, really talented behind the mic. And so it's great to hear Alex again, friend of the pod, and Elise Menaker did a great job. But Bregman hit a homer, he hit a double, he drew a walk. Dustin, he made some nice defensive plays, and he helped execute a nice rundown of Edgar Cuevo. Dansby, a ball was hit to Dansby. He throws it to Carson Kelly, who throws it to Bregman. One throw in that rundown. That's what I want to see. PCA, who had been struggling offensively, was 2 for 3 with a pair of singles. However, he was caught stealing third in the second inning. And then Luke Little, who struggled last time out, he gave up a leadoff triple, but it went off the glove of Michael Conforto. I thought maybe that should have been caught, but Little was able to work around it without giving up a run. He got the ball, hit a grounder to the infielder who threw out the runner at home. Great job by Luke Little. No walks. Again, young guys that's what we talked about, right? With Luke, no walks. And so I thought he did really well, but
that was something he had an issue with the last game. And now he's, listen, if you can improve each time you make a start like that's the good thing, right? You just don't want to go backwards. Take a step forward.
Or again, can you sit there and make the adjustments you need to? There's going to be ups and downs. Here was Alex Bregman on his home run, and Dustin, this guy is such a ball player. He just sounds like a ball player. This cracked me up. Listen to this.
Looked like you were in mid-season form today. Did you feel good out there?
I don't know. Felt good. Working on feeling good with DK and the guys in the cage, and was fortunate enough to square a few up. And then also have good swing decisions in the last at bat, and take the walk there.
How important is that part of the vest that you alluded to? Just taking a walk and feeling good up at the plate, like you've seen the ball well.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big part of my game is trying to swing at good pitches to hit. So really locking in on that and focusing on that, even here in spring training, to prepare for the season.
Now, Dustin, I don't know about you. I'm trying to think, but I've heard more this camp about swing decisions than I feel like I've heard in the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's like a trendy word, right? Trendy word.
Right. Now, I'm just wondering, did Bregman bring that over? Is that something that the Cubs have decided to use more in their vernacular? Because I've heard PCA talk about it. I've heard a lot of guys talking about it. I mean, it's clearly something that you could take a look at, but I don't know. But so you didn't see when Bruce is asking the question to Alex Bregman, he used the word alluded. And every time that I think that Bruce is going to have to kind of ease up on the vocab a little bit, because every time he does it, I think that like Alex Bregman kind of gives him a little bit of a look. But I do want to say here that I was at Almost Home yesterday with my friend Danny Rocket and some of the ranters. And this was us on Marquee. Look at that. Look at that. We had a big crew at Almost Home down in Wrigleyville where we were watching the game. Good crowd. Bleacher Jeff, Praz, Mike Prasnowski, Lexi. We had Mai Tai and Rachel. There's a big crew out there, and it was a lot of fun. So
Nice job.
Nice job. Those guys.
Yep. Good job. Very cool. Very cool, Crawley. All right, let's move along here. You're listening to the Fly the W podcast, part of the Blue Wire Network. It is episode 342. Edward Cabrera making his Cubs debut. Listen, download, review, subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. 5-star review. We'll take it. You can email us, crawleysclubhouse@gmail.com. Don't forget, you can watch us. You might be doing that right now. Crawley's YouTube page. In this segment, Crawley's talking to Bradley Woodrum, writer for Baseball Prospectus, to preview the WBC, which finally returns later this week. Bradley will talk pool play, matchups to watch, and which team will end up on top. This is the Fly the W podcast, part of the Blue Wire Network. It is episode number 342. Edward Cabrera making his Cubs debut. Don't forget to listen, download, subscribe, review. 5-star reviews. We'll take it. Email. We'll read them. We'll answer them. We'll consume them, if you will. crawleysclubhouse@gmail.com. You can watch us. We can't watch you, but you can watch us on the Crawley's Clubhouse YouTube page. All right, Justin Steele. All systems go, Crawley.
I mean, how surprised were you about this? I mean, all of a sudden, Justin Steele drops a tweet that says he's good to go. And here's what he had to say.
Yesterday was just the last scheduled checkup. Dr. Meister flew out here from Texas, as he does when he, around this time of year, he's checking on everybody, 15 teams, anybody's surgeries that he's done. Everybody goes to the Angels facility, gets their checkups, and that was my last one. Don't have to see him anymore. So as far as doctor's orders, he's cleared me to, full go as far as baseball activities, no restrictions. So, yeah.
All right, full go.
Oh, yeah. What do you think? You got a late May start or a early June start?
I would say early June, and I think that the reason is because we're in no rush. And the reason I say early June is because of what Justin had to say when asked about his timeline.
There are a lot of factors that go into it, but is there any sense for like long-term timetable? Because fans are going to wonder when we see Justin Steele back on the mound.
I mean, yeah. I would still be sticking to the same timeline that we kind of been saying, May, June-ish. And all of this is with the mind, the thought in mind that the outings in October and November are going to be the ones that matter the most. So I would say keep that in mind as we're talking and thinking about this.
The fact that they didn't put you on a 60-day IL, does that give you hope that you could return before?
I'm going to be honest, I don't even know the implications of all that stuff. I don't even know what any of that really means. I just know it's 60 days and whatnot.
I love the honesty, Crawley. Love the honesty. Not even aware of what the 60-day means other than it's 60 days.
Right. And so it is a big deal because that means he can play anytime before 60 days, but they didn't put him on there. And if there was any thought that he couldn't make the late May, early June timeline, they would have put him on the 60-day. That's again, that doesn't mean anything to him, but from a Cubs fan perspective, if he's, you're talking minimum 60 days and then you're going to have to get him ramped up and all this stuff, it's going to take some time. And so what this tells me right now is they're going to watch him. They're going to be careful with him, but he's going to definitely be, I would say, in Iowa for a little bit, but they're just in no hurry to get him up here. And the key right now that he has talked about, that the Cubs have talked about, you want him peaking at the right time. So it's probably not going to be like, you can't expect Justin to be what he was when he went in for the surgery. Okay. Mm-hmm. That always takes a little bit of time. But if you remember Matthew Boyd, when he came back for Cleveland, he made a difference at the end of the year. Okay. And so that's what they're looking for from Justin. They want him to be able to peak and not fatigue at the right time. And so if he can ease in, like I said, start in June a little bit, kind of work his pitches up a little bit, get a little break for the All-Star break, kind of start building up a little bit more, and then peaking right when you get into October. That's the key right there. September, October. That's when you need Justin Steele at his best. Not rusty, not fatigued, just ready to throw and do what he needs to do. So, I mean, Dustin, you wonder now when you take a look at this Cubs roster, and you start asking yourself, okay, what is the 40-man roster going to look, or what's the what's the pitching staff, the rotation going to look like? That's going to be the question. Who do you slot where, and how is this all going to work? And that's
good
a
problem
thing
to have, right? Good problem to have.
100%. But when you're looking here at Assad, Boyd, Brown, Cabrera, you're talking about Cade Horton, Shodi Minaga, Daniel, Steele, Ray, all of these guys can come in there and Tyone and give you innings and really give you starts. And
well,
so,
Shelby Miller isn't going to give him any innings anytime soon, right?
Yeah, we do have some injury news, and this is not a shocker because he was injured when they signed him. This is Jed betting on the future. It's a reclamation project. Shelby Miller has nothing to do with the 2025 or 2026 Cubs. He has everything to do with next year, right? The 2027 season. I guess we're just going to pretend it's going to exist, but that's where that comes from.
Fingers crossed.
But the funny thing, Dustin, isn't that they put Shelby Miller on there. It's the corresponding move that they made, which was to bring Ben Cowles back to the team. And if you're starting to kind of stay, Ben, what have I've heard that before? Well, Ben Cowles was on the Cubs, and on end of September, he was DFA'd in 2025.
Yeah.
White Sox pick him up. He's with the White Sox. They designate him for assignment in January 2026. Who picks him up? The Cubs. Cubs pick him up. They sign him January 15th, 2026. 1 month later, they DFA him so that they could add Shelby Miller. So to put him on the 40-man roster, you had to DFA somebody. They DFA'd Ben Cowles. Well, it so happens that Toronto picks him up off of waivers on February 18th, and then they DFA him, and the Cubs pick him up. And so literally this is the third time he's with the Cubs organization since September 2025.
Talk about a merry-go-round, Crawley. What the hell?
Well, here's the thing. He's just kind of like one of those bubble players. And it was like,
well, it sounds like he's a council guy, right? I mean, this is a guy the council clearly wants.
There's a lot of teams that want to take a flyer on him, but then all of a sudden you start running out of room on the 40-man roster. That's the problem that you end up having. And so that's where he kind of keeps getting screwed, is he's good enough that teams are interested, not good enough to kind of stick on any 40-man roster. And again, if the Cubs pick somebody up or if they have to make a hard decision, who's the first one they're going to look at? Ben Cowles.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to some guys that are going to be missed for a little bit and hopefully come back healthy. Let's talk about Cubs heading to the World Baseball Classic.
Yep. So we know Seiya Suzuki is already with Team Japan. Did you see that home run he hit on the fifth deck?
Sure did. Yeah.
Ooh,
Rushed that ball.
That was something. But if you take
a Japanese home run, since we've got an Arizona home run, is that a Japanese home run?
But if you take a look here, you got PCA, Matt Boyd, Alex Bregman going to the U.S. Tyone pitched today. He will be flying out to Canada. He got his last start there. Miguel Amaya, Team Panama. You got Team Japan, Seiya Suzuki. And when you talk about Venezuela, Daniel Palencia, and Team Mexico, Javier Assad. And then you have other guys that are not on the starting lineup that are usually there that are going to be playing, like BJ Murray and Christian Bethancourt and stuff like that. So the Cubs just have a ton of guys that are on the WBC. So that's what kind of makes it a little bit, that's what makes it interesting, I think, for Cub fans to kind of watch and see what happens. Here's
so
the manager.
Guys, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, what do you say?
No, I'm saying, what's it going to look like without these guys? I mean, who's going to be left behind for us to consume while these guys are playing for their country?
Well, you're the big thing is you got PCA out, so that's going to give a chance for the outfielders two really got a shot at that, right? So
Okay.
that's where you talk about your Justin Deans and your Dylan Carlson, who I think's looked really good, your Chad McCormick's, those type of guys, your Michael Confortos. There's going to be plenty of time and plenty of opportunity for each guy to make their case. When you talk about Alex Bregman, that's where you get Scott Kingery, where you get Matt Shaw will have some reps at third. They'll try some guys out there. They got young guys like Pedro Ramirez who could play some third base. So these are just more opportunities for guys to kind of get reps. But here's the manager kind of listing these guys off here.
Bregman, Pete, Boyd, BJ Murray. We lost Amaya and Betancourt. They're not here today. J-Mo's pitching tomorrow, and then that's his last day. Palencia's gone. And Assad.
So, this is going to be interesting, but the reason I kind of like this is for number one, is for PCA. He's going to be sitting there playing on that stacked Team USA, right? With Bregman, with Aaron Judge, with Paul Skeens, with a lot of these great players, especially veteran players. And I feel like PCA is kind of like a sponge that really absorbs information. But this next clip right here is the one I was thinking about earlier, where you got to hear Alex Bregman and his interaction with Bruce Levine and why Bruce has to start kind of maybe using some smaller words here. So here is Alex Bregman on being on the WBC.
Any trepidation leaving for as long as you are? I mean, it's a great honor. And
what does trepidation mean?
Is there any second thoughts about it?
Oh, no second thoughts. Getting to represent my country. Super proud of being an American, and look forward to the honor of being able to represent Team USA. Like I said.
So no more trepidation, Bruce. No more trepidation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna give Bruce a hard time, but I might have asked the same thing if I were a ball player. I do know what trepidation is. Mully and Haw do like to try to throw some words at me during the pick six. If you're a fan of the pick six segment on the Mully and Haw show, to try to throw me off, so we have a little fun with that.
But Bregman had some interesting things to say about all these guys he's going to play with.
Like I said, it's such an honor to be able to put on the Stars and Stripes. So looking forward to getting in there and getting started tomorrow, our first practice, and being around the guys.
You look at that Team USA roster, anybody in particular that you're excited to be teammates with for a little while?
I mean, every single one of them. I mean, it's a really good roster. Obviously, a lot of guys I've been fortunate enough to play against now for a while and looked up to for a while, and admired the way they played. So excited about it.
You give some advice to Roman Anthony as far as, and you went through this, you're going to get me at bat your first WBC. Obviously, he won't either, but you give him advice as far as what to learn from this.
That was Bob Nightingale. And he was talking about Roman Anthony. And if you didn't know, Roman Anthony is kind of like Boston's version of PCA, just a young, exciting, dynamic defensive player. And so he was, again, like PCA, he took Roman Anthony under his wing. And so Roman Anthony usually plays in Fort Myers with Boston for the spring training, but he's coming into Arizona. But listen to what Bregman has to say next.
Not really. We've just been texting back and forth. We're excited to get together. Can't wait to see him. I think he just got in. He's probably going to come over to the house tonight and hang out, maybe with me and Pete and some of the guys. So should be fun.
So me and Pete and Roman Anthony, I mean, like, these are all just baseball guys. You know what I mean? All just hanging out. And I think it's really going to be so good for Pete more than anybody. You forget that how many of these guys, these major leaguers, have played for Team USA prior to even being big leaguers.
Just explain like how small a world it is for like these USA baseball players. Like you're talking to Pete, he rattled off like 8 to 10 guys he's played with since he was like super young. What's that like?
For sure, it's awesome. I feel like everyone takes great pride in being from the United States and being able to represent the United States, and been fortunate enough to play on Team USA 5 times before with a lot of the guys from around the big leagues now. Even a lot of guys here in camp, like with Dan's and Conforto and some of the other in Cars early when we were younger. So honestly, playing with Team USA builds a really good bond, and we've shared that with each team that I've been on for the last last 5 times. So looking forward to doing it with these.
So 5 times, Dustin, he's played for Team USA, and he's talking about you're talking about like high school years and stuff like that. But PCA, this is going to be the first time he does the World Baseball Classic on the big stage, and he was asked about getting ready for the WBC.
What's the feeling like with the WBC now on the horizon and prepping to join USA?
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. I'm obviously going to miss the fellas here for a couple weeks, but I mean, it's special. This is obviously something new for me, and I just feel very lucky that I get to experience something like this. So, you know, I'm ready to play some real meaningful baseball and just go wear those colors. I mean, I haven't done it for some years, and getting to do it at the highest stage is going to be special.
We always joke about how there is so much similarity between PCA and the guy he was traded for, Javi Baez. He likes the big stage. I don't think the practice games he could do without, man, like playing meaningful baseball again. I think it'll be a lot of fun, a great experience for Pete. One guy that is not going to have the experience, Dustin, Shodi Minaga. We wondered if he was going to get that last Japanese spot. He is not going to be playing for Team Japan. Here's what he had to say about that.
Now that it keeps getting closer towards the WBC, are you going to miss that, or is part of you wish you were over there?
Yeah, I mean, that's a difficult question. It's not something that, it was just my decision. But as it gets closer to WBC, I'm getting excited to watch. There's so many great players that are going to play, and they're going to make fantastic plays. So, I'm going to watch and see what I can learn from everyone.
So,
be a sponge. Be a sponge. Soak it all in.
I told you I like Shota being here. It should be good. So the WBC, Dustin, as we talked about in segment 2, is going to be starting technically Thursday, super late at night. You might be up for it, Dustin. You might be able to watch it when
live sports
from Tokyo Dome. You'll be able to check it out. But for me, Friday's the big day for the WBC. I am super excited, although I may not catch the first round of pool games because, as you know, I will be leaving very shortly for Sunny Mesa.
Yeah, what's your schedule? When's that? When you picking up? When you packing? When you getting out of here?
Leaving Wednesday night, and I'll be at the game on Thursday, and I'll be at the game on Saturday. So
we're gonna have like a big wrap up a week from today, then, right? We'll have a big wrap up of all your travels.
My travels. I know Steve Scherzon here right now talking about Bregman's last WBC. Probably, but I'm going to be going to I'm going to 2 games, not a whole bunch of games, but I'll be going to a couple games. It'll be a lot of fun. I know Team Italy is playing. They're playing Tuesday at Sloan. So that's going to be kind of something a little bit different, a little bit fun, right? And so I'm going to be there to catch they're going to be playing the Brewers on Wednesday. I will be at Sloan for the D-backs on Thursday. They'll be playing a night game against the Padres Friday night. They'll be playing the Athletics on Saturday. I'll be at that game. And then they'll be playing at Sloan on Sunday, the Giants, but I'll be heading home at that time. So it'll be fun. And, there's going to actually be some more TV, Dustin, which, gosh, isn't it great that we could actually watch spring training?
Yeah, and I know, I believe Friday, Sunday, Cubs on 104.3 The Score. Friday, Sunday, and that'll be Pat Hughes and Ron Coomer.
Yeah, it's always fun when Pat comes out there, but this is the marquee lineup for those of you that are wondering. So that today was the game against the Reds, not the greatest to watch. Wednesday, they'll have the Brewers game, and they'll be there Sunday for the Giants game. So all 3 of those should be, fun. Like I said, I just like watching them. And then, as you said, on marquee, Pat and Ron are on The Score. That's going to be actually Saturday the 7th versus the Athletics, and Sunday the 8th against the Giants. It'll be both a marquee and Score matchup. So that'll
all right, Crawley, give everybody your socials one more time so they can follow your actions out west.
Yep, we are going to be. You can follow me at Crawley's Cubs and on Crawley's Clubhouse at Facebook, everywhere. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We are going to have a blast out there. Be watching for the pictures and photos because, as anyone knows, when Hurricane Crawley gets to Mesa, all sorts of hell breaks loose.
That's a wrap. Don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. You can email us your thoughts or questions at Crowley'sClubhouse@gmail.com, and you can watch us by using or subscribing to the Crowley's Clubhouse YouTube channel. All right, Crowley, safe travels, and be sure to follow Crowley and take in Cubs baseball either on Marquee or on 104.3 The Score.
And Steve sure says, bring me on next week to fact check Crawley's antics in Arizona. So he's going to be a neutral observer. But you know what? Get ready, Mesa. Crawley's coming. Go Cubs.
It's all over.